Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program. What does it take to achieve your goals in real estate and investing in your life? Well, that's a big old topic, but we've got an amazing guest to help you do exactly that. Brian Tracy is with us today on the Real Estate Guys radio program. To really get the most out of real estate investing, it's imperative that you pick the right market. But more goes into market analysis than just the latest headlines. Come learn how to see a real estate market through the eyes of experienced investors when the Real Estate Guys come to Dallas, Texas for an investor field trip. You'll learn a ton about what makes a market tick, and specifically the key advantages the DFW market and submarkets possess. Study the sustainable drivers, dig beneath the headlines, understand the financial metrics, and spend 2.5 days around other investors from other markets. And while no property is sold on the Real Estate Guys field trips, you will have the opportunity to pick the brains of real estate professionals that have been working in the market for years. Oh, and did we mention? It's a blast. Sample the local cuisine, experience the Dallas culture, and network like crazy. Visit realestateguysradio.com and look under events for all the details. That's realestateguysradio.com under events, and we'll see you in Dallas, Texas. Welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms. With me, as usual, co-host, financial strategist Russell Gray.
Hey, Robert.
How are you this fine day?
I'm great.
You know, there's so much involved in real estate, and today we're going to talk about a great subject, which is how do you achieve all the things that you've set out in your life that you want to achieve when it comes to real estate, and really more than just real estate. To be a person who achieves, you have to reach higher, you have to think different, you have to have big goals. And when we're excited about real estate and we're learning about real estate, we normally start with our financial goals. Most people get involved with real estate because they want to either create more cash flow or have more money or own more property that goes up in value. Whatever your personal investment philosophy is, usually it's because you're after something more. And what's critically important is for you to understand the various ways that you have to get educated in real estate. We're big fans, obviously, of education. We think that you need to learn everything you can about the business you're in. And in real estate, that's a lot. The physicality of real estate, appraisals and the financing, and then the whole tenant-landlord law and all that tactical stuff. And tactical stuff is important.
It absolutely is. And the thing about success is that it's based on principles. It's based on things that you adhere to as a set of standards that you operate by. And when you're thinking about skills that you have to have, we think about, we need to understand how to read an appraisal. We need to understand how to do the cash flow analysis. We need to understand how to do market due diligence. We need to understand how to do due diligence on our providers. I mean, you go on and on and on, and all the things that you need to learn. But there's things that you have to learn about how to manage your own psychology, your ability to overcome fear, take action when it's necessary, your ability to make decisions about how you're going to allocate the most limited resource of all you have, which is your time. And then how are you going to give guidance to the people that you're working with, and how are you going to communicate clearly to them? And so these are all, I guess you'd call them soft skills. I mean, I consider them to be kind of hard skills, but at the end of the day, you've got to have them, because if you don't, then you're not able to get the most out of the resources that you have.
Well, I think that perhaps we talk about tactical skills, the physical things you need to know about real estate, and I'd even consider the financing of real estate, because that is such a huge topic. And then there's more of the passion part of it. Why is it that you get up every day to do whatever it is you do, whether it's your business, your career, your real estate investing, and having those skills, the skill sets like time management and tenacity and passion, and going beyond what the average and ordinary person has in their life to do more. That's a whole different skill set. I think one of the critical things to understand as a real estate investor is if it's just about the money for you, it's hard to keep the ball focused long term, because what's going to happen is you start out in real estate investing because you want more income, say, you want more passive cash flow. Well, within 2 or 3, 4 investments, now you have that. Now it's easy to go, well, and you get complacent, you get bored. And maybe that's fine. Maybe once you've got an extra $1,000 a month coming in, you're good. You're done. You don't have to listen to podcasts anymore. On the other hand, in order for you to really step up and really think big and really achieve more, you've got to keep your head in the game.
Yeah, I think that the main thing is figuring out why you're doing what you're doing. Sometimes you're going to use real estate as a stepping stone to get to where you ultimately want to go. It's a great wealth building mechanism. You can develop those streams of passive cash flow that can give you your time back so you can go pursue your other goals. It can give you a large chunk of cash so you can make those big capital investments that you may need to start a different kind of business or a different kind of project or do some charitable work or whatever you want. And all of those things are great. If you're in real estate because you love it, then you're going to stay in it longer and you're going to do better in it. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be in it in the short term. You just have to know going in. It kind of goes into, me as a strategist. I think about, okay, what am I doing today? I think about things in terms of chunks. What's the big chunk that I'm trying to take care of right now? May just be trying to get myself in a position to go to the next level. And that next level may not include real estate. Again, that's okay. You just need to know going in.
Well, whatever it is you want in your life, this idea of I've got to get clear on that and set those goals. We're going to talk about that today for sure. And of course, every beginning of the year, we do our big goal setting retreat and event. And it's a great way to kick off the year, getting clear about who you are, what you're trying to accomplish in your life, and what are the things that can help get you there. And sometimes in the financial arena, real estate's just one of those things. People go, well, yeah, I'd like some passive income. Yeah, I think I can, 2x or 5x in real estate more than I can just, working at a job for somebody else. Or maybe for you, it's a business that surrounds real estate or something related to that. And so it starts with goal setting, understanding who you are. And we talk specifically in real estate about personal investment philosophy. This idea that no two real estate investors are the same. We think differently. We have different objectives. We have different resources and skill sets. And so we're not going to belabor that point today because we've talked about that on the show and it's in our book. But the idea that you are different than the person next to you. Even if maybe you're married to that person, you have different goals and objectives and ideas about how real estate's going to integrate in your life. And then you have to figure out which are those hard skills that I need to know. If you're rehabbing houses, there's a good chance that you'll need to know more about the way houses are constructed and the way that you can fix them up than the guy who's investing passively in triple net commercial buildings. So you need to figure out what is the knowledge you don't have and how do I go get that knowledge? And the great news today is there's tons of classes and webinars and seminars and podcasts and those kinds of things that you can avail yourself to. We're not the only real estate podcast. A lot of great podcasts that get very tactical in the things that you need to do with particular classes of real estate to make them more valuable, to create more cash flow, to get all your investments to the next level. And that's great. But I think the big picture is that you need to be focused and stay focused on achieving everything you can. A couple of weeks ago, we had Kyle Wilson on the program, and Kyle's a guy that's been around personal development basically his whole life. The study of personal development is fascinating. There's lots of folks that in our world run into us because they were interested in real estate, but what happens is they get exposed to more than just the real estate part. They realize that they could have a bigger vision of themselves.
Yeah, I think the thing that's important is that people understand, you talked about fixing up the property, rehabbing. And in a lot of ways, we're fixing ourselves up. We're in a constant state of fixing ourselves up. So if you were to think about using that analogy, if I'm going to go look at a property and I'm going to say, okay, I want to build a certain type of home, or I want to build an industrial building, or I want to build an apartment complex, or I want to build a high rise. The types of people you're going to have in your life, your vendors, if you will, the people that are supporting you are going to be different. The things that you need to learn and understand are going to be different. And as you said, Robert, there's a ton of different things out there in terms of information, which is a blessing. But at the same time, it can be a curse because you can get caught up in trying to learn everything about everything, and then you never get around to doing it. So I think it's really important you go through that goal setting process and figure out, who you are, what you want. Then you think about who you need to be and what you need to know, and you make a checklist and you begin to create your own curriculum and you begin to develop yourself in each of those areas. And you can do that through study. You can do that through experience. You can do that by seeking out mentors, people that have experience in that space, and you can apprentice with them. You can work with them. You may decide to do it through job experience. Nothing wrong with having a job. If you're getting more than a paycheck, you may be developing relationships that you need, or you may be developing personal expertise that you need, or access to some other form of resource that you are going to need in order to be who you need to be in order to go where you want to go. go. But the key is to be intentional about it. And that's what the goal setting part does. That's what the focus does. It lets you know exactly where you need to devote your attention to develop the skills and the relationships and cultivate the resources that you need to go where you want to go.
Goal setting is the first part, deciding what you want. And the second part is accountability. How do you hold yourself accountable for these goals and these things that you've set out and said that you've wanted? Well, there's only so many hours in the day. There's other things pulling at your time and attention. So how do you achieve? And you mentioned finding mentors, and this is critical, right? There's teachers that we have in our lives that we may never meet, right? That we read their work, or we watch a video, or we go to a webinar, or we listen to a podcast, and they're giving us ideas. They're putting seeds in that fertile mind soil of ours so we can start thinking about the things that we want. And then there's folks that are more hands-on, maybe coaches, someone that can hold you accountable. And a coach isn't necessarily an expert in the area that you're trying to achieve in. They don't necessarily know better than you or more than you, but they're a person that can make sure that you are staying on track, that you're doing the things you said you do, that if you committed to something, you're actually getting it done. And then there's mentors, and mentors typically are people you probably do have an actual relationship with, although you may not, get together every week. They're people who have come before you and done the things you want to do, and they can really give you wisdom when it comes to looking at your life experience and what you're trying to accomplish and saying, hey, I've been there and done that. Here's some ideas you should consider.
Yeah, and your mentors and your advisors and your teachers and a lot of the different people in your life, they bring something else to the party besides what they know. They bring to the party who they know. A lot of times you can get connected to people and resources, and you can expand your network. And, I talk all the time at the syndication seminar about the importance of building your brand and building your network. And one of the best ways to do that is by plugging into a mastermind or a mentorship program where you're going to get a chance not to meet just one person, but a lot of different people, either directly or indirectly through the people that are there. And so that goes to this notion again of beginning to think about, as you're designing this life that you want to live, that's going to have possessions in it, it's going to have money in it, it's going to have cash flow in it, it's going to have relationships in it, and then you're going to be adding skills to yourself constantly to help develop that. Mentors can contribute in all of those areas.
Absolutely. And I am super excited to introduce you to our guest today, who has been a mentor of mine for many, many years. This is now our 20th year of broadcast, and for at least the last 16 years, we've been attempting to get this gentleman on the show, and it's almost happened a couple times, but thankfully, today is the day. Brian Tracy is the chairman and CEO of Brian Tracy International. He's studied, researched, written, and spoken for 30 years in the fields of economic, history, business, philosophy, psychology, and sales. He's a top-selling author. He's got more than 70 books, and he's spoken for 5 million people in over 5,000 talks and seminars throughout 70 different countries. In fact, Brian has traveled and worked in more than 100 countries on 6 continents. He speaks 4 languages. Most importantly, he speaks the language of achievement. You're going to be blown away by our guest today. When we come back, you'll meet legendary Brian Tracy today on the Real Estate Guys radio program.
Live nationwide, you're listening to the Real Estate Guys. Find out more at realestateguysradio.com.
Forbes rated Memphis the best cash flow market in the nation. And our good friend Terry Kerr at Mid-South Home Buyers has been the premier turnkey rental property provider in Memphis for over 13 years. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, Terry has renovated over 750 houses. Real Estate Guys listeners have snapped up hundreds. Discover what these satisfied investors already know. Mid-South's properties are completely renovated with a 1-year warranty and a lifelong rental guarantee. They're affordable, well-managed, and easy to own. Perfect for beginning investors and veterans alike. Get in on the action. Contact Terry and his team via email at midsouth@realestateguysradio.com.
Stop for a moment. Why are you listening to this show? Are you dreaming of a bigger, brighter financial future? More personal freedom to live life on your own terms? What if there was just one skill that could make it happen? There is. Sales. Robert Kiyosaki says every entrepreneur must be good at sales. It's true for investors too. Sales is how you attract money, people, and opportunities. Sales is the skill used to negotiate deals and lead your team. Sales skills are essential to success. The good news is, it's a learnable skill. The great news is, we've created a 2-day interactive workshop to teach those skills to you. Make plans today to attend How to Win Funds and Influence People, Mastering the Art of Financial Selling. For dates and details, send an email to sales@realestateguysradio.com or visit realestateguysradio.com and look under events. Gain the skills you need to succeed. Email sales@realestateguysradio.com or look under the events tab at realestateguysradio.com.
Hello, this is Dave Lenniger, co-founder of Remax International. You're listening to The Real Estate Guys.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program, the number one downloaded podcast on real estate investing. Very excited to have a gentleman who has had a profound effect on my life personally and professionally. Please welcome to the Real Estate Guys radio program, author, lecturer, and all-around amazing mentor, Mr. Brian Tracy. Hey, Brian.
Hello, how are you? I'm so happy to be with you.
Oh, it's wonderful to have you with us, and I know you're a busy guy. In fact, your travel year has started out pretty strong, my friend.
Yes, well, I've been gone for 3 2-week travel tours, and on Thursday I leave again for another 14 days in Europe speaking. So it's busy and good.
You know, I guess the topic of achievement and sales is still very relevant today.
Oh, yes, it is. I'm speaking more and more on what I call business model reinvention, things that you can do to transform the way you're operating yourself and your business. Everything today is to reinvent yourself on a regular basis in response to what is going on in our world. And people who don't run the great risk of earning far less than they're capable of, working at jobs that are far below their potential, and not fulfilling their potential.
You know, Brian, such a good point. I was first introduced to you years ago when I was a fledgling real estate salesperson, and just getting my mind around some of the basics of sales, some of the things that are still true today, really set me on a course. But then you bring up the point that the world has changed and technology is different and the way people relate is different. So how does a person who's out there today trying to reinvent their business, where do they start?
Well, you start off by standing back and looking at yourself and saying, what value do you or could you bring to society? We call this your value offering, your value proposition. And it's the fundamental question and answer for a successful business. And as you know, people who are in real estate, people in any field, are self-employed. They're the presidents of their own personal services corporations. So they need to look upon themselves as a business and ask, is what I'm doing right now the highest and best use of my skills and ability? And every life change begins when somebody says, I'm going to stop doing this and start doing that. And they're going to become very, very good at that, especially real estate developers and real estate investors. They decide to become very, very good at buying homes, financing them, raising money to back them up, either turning them over, flipping, or renting them, turning them into rental apartments. It's a skill. And I've met lots of people who've developed this skill by just simply deciding I'm going to do it.
Well, making a decision is certainly critical. And then I think, a lot of folks are just, maybe they're stuck in a rut. Maybe they've been doing something for a long time, and it seems like that's just the easy track. But instead, you're suggesting that they step back and they take a real assessment.
Yes. I also teach what I call business model reinvention, but personal business model reinvention or life design. In businesses, I say, you could tell if you have the right business model because your sales and profitability are growing steadily, predictably, progressively over time. You can tell if your business model is wrong because your sales are either up and down and unpredictable, or they're flat, or they're declining. But the same thing with an individual is you can tell if your personal business model is correct because your sales and your income are going up on a regular, steady, progressive, pre-planned basis. But if your sales and income are fluctuating uncontrollably or are flat or declining, then what you have to do is call a timeout and say, wait a minute, I need to really look at my business model. And the business model, by the way, is equal to the profit model. It's the process by which you earn net profits. And there are several steps in the business model. The starting point is to say, what is my value offering? What do I offer to people in exchange for their money? One of the things I really found interesting is that the business of an entrepreneur is to ask people for money. Please give me money. Give me your money. You get up in the morning, and the only time you're working is when you're out asking people for money. And then the question is, they say, well, why should I give you money? And then you better have a good answer. That's business success. Is ask people for money and give them a good reason to give it to you.
Such a good point. Well, Brian, obviously one of the things that you are known incredibly well for, in fact, it's one of your many books, is goals and goal setting. And when I first learned those principles from you, it really did change my life. Can you talk about goals?
Well, yes. My favorite word is clarity. Clarity. I find that maybe 95% of success is that you're very clear about who you are, your strengths and weaknesses, and what you want. The great majority of people are unclear about that. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were at a party last year in Bill Gates' home in Washington, about 110 people at the dinner party, and they were talking to Bill Gates' father, who's a very highly respected and successful businessman in Washington. Anyway, one of the guests came up and said, "Gentlemen, I don't mean to interrupt your conversation, but you're obviously some of the most successful people in the world. What would you say is the key to success?" And all three of them stopped what they were talking about and turned and all said at once, focus. Focus is the key to success. So I say that the key is to start off with goals is to be absolutely clear about what you want and write it down. And second of all, focus single-mindedly on doing only those things that will get you what you want more than anything else. And then the third key, which follows from that, is concentration. Concentrate single-mindedly on doing and completing one thing at a time. Clarity, focus, and concentration. And goal setting is what enables you to do that.
Good stuff. Hey, obviously, one of the things that you have been a master at, and it's interesting you bring up Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, is I know that you have made it really a lifelong study of the way that millionaires, and specifically self-made millionaires, think and behave. Can you speak to that?
Yes. It's interesting. Everything in life is habits. Aristotle said that first you create your habits, and then your habits create you. And so everything in life is habits. You either have good habits, and they propel you forward, or you have bad habits, and they're like putting on the brakes of your potential. And all habits are learnable. If we don't learn the habits that we need when we're young, we learn them when we grow up, or not at all. Rich people, wealthy people, have rich habits. I've just written a book. I was in New York last week with my publishers. It's just come out, and it's called Get Smart. And it talks about 10 different ways that successful people versus unsuccessful people think. And the 10th chapter is rich people versus poor people. Exactly how do they think? And you'll find that rich people have a very different way of thinking than poor people. Rich people think about earning more money all the time. Poor people think about how expensive everything is. Rich people are always looking for opportunities to produce a product or service that people want and need and will pay for. Poor people want to go home and watch television. And here's another example. 85% of rich people have one big goal that they work on all the time. Only 3% of poor people have a big goal, and they don't work on it all the time. So if you want to be successful, you want to be rich, do what rich people do. And stop doing what poor people do.
Wow. What an amazing shortcut. Now, you, of course, are speaking to lots of folks all over the world today. Some people are there by choice. They are excited to come hear you. And other times, you might be a keynote speaker at an event that maybe someone got drugged to, but they can't be in the room very long around you and not get at least somewhat enthusiastic. And yet, what do you think makes the difference? People come to an event, some change their life, some decide to do nothing.
Yes, well, a lot of it has to do with childhood conditioning. Is most people who were raised with parents who were critical or non-supportive grow up with a deep down feeling of insecurity, inferiority, and the worst word of all, undeservingness. They don't believe in their heart of hearts that they deserve to be successful because they believe that their parents treated them badly because there was something wrong with them. And they don't know what it was. And they started treating them like this when they were babies. And they grow up with this monkey on their back of feeling that they're not good enough. And so they marry people who feel the same way. People are always attracted to people who are at their same level of happiness, their same level of self-esteem, their same level of self-concept. So unhappy people marry unhappy people and become self-reinforcing. Happy people marry happy people and become self-reinforcing. So that's the major reason why people don't take these ideas, because they just don't think it will work for them. And it's interesting. I was shocked when I learned this in 2001. I was talking to somebody, and he said, it isn't that people disbelieve that if you set goals and make plans and upgrade your skills and work hard, that you'll be successful. They don't disbelieve it. They believe everything that you said. They just don't think it would work for them because of all this other baggage.
Wow. You know, one of the things I remember you talking about was the average number of times someone will try something new before giving up.
Yeah, the average is less than one.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they give up. They say, I'd really like to do or be or have that, and they give up before they try it the first time. It's almost like all their reasons why it won't work and all the fact that they're busy and they don't have the time and might cost too much, they all kind of surge in and wash away all that enthusiasm and desire, and they go home and they turn on the television and they just forget anything they ever heard.
So how important is it, Brian, that people get around other folks that are going somewhere, other folks that are achieving and have goals in their life?
You know, you heard that great one-liner that your income will be the average income of the 5 people with whom you associate the most.
Right.
And so at Harvard, Dr. David McClellan some years ago studied, he wrote a book called The Achieving Society. Why do people achieve? Several reasons. One is the people that they associate with, and what do they say about achievement, starting a business. The great majority of people sneer at people who are entrepreneurs, whether it's an MLM, they're starting a business, they're showing their products to people, they sneer at them. And they associate with people who sneer at people who are hungry and ambitious. But the worst of all, reason that they fail, is because they associate their social group, what is called their reference group, is made up of poor people. And so they sit around and they assume that if this is what the people around me talk about all the time, this must be what everybody talks about. And so they associate with people who think and talk the way they do, which is basically failure. And so you take these 80-20, and the bottom 80% basically thinks failure. The top 20% basically thinks success. The bottom 80% is passive. They expect things to be done for them. The bottom 20% is proactive. They expect to have to take action themselves.
Our guest today is best-selling author Brian Tracy. When we come back, we're going to find out about an amazing events Brian's doing and how you can become part of it. We're also going to play real estate trivia next. You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms.
Real estate investment advice right in your mailbox. Sign up for the free Real Estate Guys newsletter at realestateguysradio.com.
If you love real estate and have always wanted to own your own business, listen up. The Real Estate Guys and their panel of experts want to teach you how to go full-time fast in the real estate syndication business. These next few years may go down in history as one of the best times ever to acquire investment real estate. There are deals everywhere if you know where to look and how to assemble the resources. The Secrets of Successful Syndication seminar will show you how to make big money doing big deals from a team of experts that have syndicated projects totaling more than $1 billion. Don't wait for someone to give you a raise or create a job for you. Attend the Secrets of Successful Syndication and learn how to build a team, raise capital, find deals, and make full-time money in 6 months or less. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events. All the big players use syndication as a way to diversify risk, optimize profits, and earn big money. You can too. Go to realestateguysradio.com and click on events.
Are you ready to profit in paradise? Hi, it's Robert Helms, and if you think real estate investing means tenants, toilets, and termites, think again. Located just a short plane ride from the U.S., a virtually untouched paradise awaits, the beautiful country of Belize. When you go to Belize with the Real Estate Guys, you'll spend 4 fabulous days discovering one of the most intriguing real estate markets I've ever seen. With its jungle rainforest, pristine beaches, and 81-degree turquoise water, Belize is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Plus, it's considered one of the top 7 tax havens in the world. Belize property is on the rise, and many experts think the best is yet to come. But don't just take my word for it. Come experience Belize firsthand at our upcoming investor field trip. When you join us, you'll discover the many reasons we love Belize, like tremendously undervalued beachfront land, super low taxes, ease of doing business, and so much more. Get the details at realestateguysradio.com. Just click on events. See paradise for yourself. Click events at realestateguysradio.com, and I'll see you in beautiful Belize.
Hi, this is Peter Schiff, and you are listening to The Real Estate Guys.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program, heard every weekend on this fine radio station. All the time at realestateguysradio.com. Super excited to have the amazing Brian Tracy with us. Before we get back to the interview with Brian, it's time to play Real Estate Trivia, your chance to win a prize, and it's a good one. By knowing today's Real Estate Trivia question, in just a minute I'm going to ask you a question that has something to do with real estate, and you're going to come up with an answer, and the person with the right answer is going to win the Treasury of Quotes book from Brian Tracy. This is a great little booklet with lots of great quotes from Brian. Brian says if you want to earn more, you have to learn more. Amazing nuggets in there, and we're going to throw in a couple of other prizes if you can figure out today's real estate trivia question. Last week on the program, we had James Rickards on the show talking about his new book, The New Case for Gold. We asked this: what town sits on top of the world's largest gold deposit? Well, most gold bugs know it's Johannesburg, South Africa. Here's our real estate trivia question for this week. Where in the world is the highest swimming pool? Where is the highest place you can be swimming in a man-made swimming pool, and it's way up in the air? Where is that? What piece of real estate can you find the highest swimming pool in the world? If you know or want to take a guess, send your best guess to us to trivia@realestateguysradio.com, trivia@realestateguysradio.com. Include your name and your physical mailing address so we can send you Brian Tracy's quote book. That's today's real estate trivia question. We are honored to have the legendary Brian Tracy with us today. So excited, Brian, that you're dusting off this amazing event that years and years ago you did around the country called Success Mastery Academy. And I tell you, this had such a huge impact. Being able to witness this event myself in 6 different cities, boy, it is just a powerhouse. And now after all these years, you're doing it again. Tell us about the event coming up.
Yes, well, it's interesting. More people's lives are changed by the attendance at an intense 2 or 3 day event like this than by any other influence in society. And what we did with Kyle Wilson and yourself some years ago is we said, let's put together a seminar that is basically the best of the best. All the best principles that can be taught in seminars have to do with self-esteem and self-respect, with personal pride, with belief in oneself, with leadership, time management, sales, influence, negotiating, all the most important things that you need to learn to be successful. Let's lay it out and make it clear, and let's teach people step by step. Like part 1 is the 7 qualities of master achievers. In other words, what are the 7 qualities that have been derived from thousands of hours and millions of dollars of research? These are 7 ways that people think and act. How to manage yourself and others for peak performance. How to make quantum leaps in your sales and business career. Time empowerment. How do you master your time and double your productivity? Maximum selling strategies. How do you sell more, faster, easier in any market? How do you change your positioning, perception, and self-image in selling? Then we have this whole session on persuasion, negotiation, and influence skills. There are 7 key skills that top influencers have that enable them within 2 or 3 minutes of meeting someone to have that person wanting to do what they want them to do. And in sales, you find that a person who knows these skills will make sales that may take 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings, and may take 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. They'll make the sale within 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, just by using proven skills, ways of influencing and affecting people. And it goes on and on. I mean, that's just the first part of the program, but it just goes on and on. It's all written down, all laid out in workbooks. You take it away with you, and it's literally life-changing. The next session, we start off with how to set and achieve goals. How to set and achieve goals in every part of your life. How to negotiate. It's a great all-in-one program for personal success.
You know, Kyle and I used to joke that it was Brian Tracy's greatest hits. I mean, it was all the wonderful elements of the various audio programs and your books, all distilled down to actionable steps, things you're going to learn, but things you can actually go do, because there's great power in learning. There's even better power in doing.
Yes. We also teach you how to achieve financial independence, just using basic rules that are used by the wealthiest people who started with nothing and who became self-made millionaires or multimillionaires. And it's very simple stuff. And you know, there's this little expression that college students use, SMH, which means shaking my head. Well, right. People, when they hear these ideas, they're just shaking their head. This is such simple stuff. I can't believe I don't know and practice this stuff.
It's crazy watching the lights come on for people, having sat in this room with this amazing material. And what's great about it, Brian, is it doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter if you own your own business, if you work for someone else, if you're a real estate investor, if you're a salesperson, if you're an attorney. If you're just a home business person, what you teach at this event is got the ability to set people off on a brand new trajectory.
Yes. Well, I talked about the 7 qualities of high achievers, and this is based on exhaustive work at Harvard into the psychology and David McClelland's work into achievement. The most important quality of all is hunger. They call it ambition in the university studies, and it's a measurable quality. You can tell how ambitious a person is to change their condition in life, to move from where they are to where they want to be. And ambition or hunger or desire, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, number 1 of 17 qualities is intense, burning desire for much higher levels of success and achievement. So you start off with that, and then you say, well, what do you really want? One of the questions we ask is if you could achieve any one goal in life, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on your life? What one goal would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail?
Those are great clarifying questions.
Yeah, you know these questions. And whatever goal pops into your mind, say, whoa, if I could achieve that, that would be better, more important than anything else. What that means is that you have the ability to achieve it. The fact that you could actually become clear and write it down means that you have within you and around you the capability to attract into your life all the resources you need to achieve it. The only thing that you're required to do is be absolutely clear about what you want. And then the whole universe will go to work to bring it to you.
Such good stuff. Well, we're excited about Success Mastery Academy coming back after all these years. It's certainly overdue. But not only that, Kyle has assembled all kinds of other folks, many of your students who over the years have been in the classroom with you and have learned are now going to share the stage with you. Darren Hardy, Vic Johnson, Tom Ziegler will be there, Ron White. There's a dozen other folks. So what's that going to be like, presenting with folks who owe a lot to the teaching that you've laid out for them?
Well, it's going to be like going to a first-class restaurant and having a series of absolutely great dishes, one after another. And then, of course, I'm the main course. So you're going to get the hors d'oeuvres and the salad and the desserts and everything else, and I will just be there to provide the main course.
All right. Well, really excited about it. Obviously, the event happens May 13th, 14th, 15th in Dallas, Texas. Before we're done, we'll tell you how you can get signed up for that. Hey, Brian, folks who are listening, one of the things they might not know about your background, I know people always think about, achievement orientation and sales and all that when they think of you, but you actually have a little bit of background in real estate.
Yes. Well, I traveled around the world for 8 years. I came back when I was 28 years old. I've been in 80 countries, and I had to start off from the ground up. And I did a lot of research, and I decided I wanted to get into commercial real estate. So I went and spoke to several of the commercial real estate companies, and the job that they had was leasing or renting space.
Yep.
In the case of the job I got was leasing rental space in skyscrapers downtown. So I worked my head off. I took my license, and I began knocking on doors. But I've been knocking on doors all the time I've been traveling, so that was no problem. I made 500 calls in the first 30 days.
Wow.
And that was my start. And then I decided I would get into real estate development because I heard that was a good place to make money. And I didn't know anything about real estate development. I didn't even know how to spell it. I had to go down to the library. I couldn't buy the book and just check out books. I read 21 books on real estate development by some of the best real estate developers in the world. Then I put together a plan, and they told you how you find a piece of property to develop and how you determine what sort of property or rental property you can put up on this, whether it's an apartment or a shopping center or a strip mall or so on. So I began driving around like a big kid. I was about 30 years old with almost no money, used car, and I kept driving in ever-widening circles, and I found a 5-acre piece of property in a fast-growing town outside the main city. And my books had said, if you can find something like this, go and talk to the owner. So I did. By the time it was over, a year had passed, I had bought the property. Now, I didn't have any money. So I said, would you sell the property? Yes, they gave me a price that was reasonable. I didn't have the money, so I went to their lawyer. I still remember. His name was John. I said, John, I don't have the money, but if I can have 30 days, I can probably find the money because it's in the books. He said, give me a check for $150 and I'll allow you to tie up this $1 million property. I said, great. And I took that. Now I got it. So this is how you seize control of a piece of property. You make a deposit on it. And so then I ran to every single real estate development company I could find. I finally found an absolutely superb company. I took them the proposal. They looked at it and checked it out in detail. And I've learned how from the books to write out a proposal in every detail, the prospective tenants, the cost, the size, the rentals, the cash flow, the performance, and so on. So I took it to them, and they said, this is the best proposal we've ever seen.
Wow.
They had 200 pieces of property. Okay, if these things hold up, we'll put 100% of the money for 75% of the shopping center. And so we built a $3 million shopping center. Took me from rags to riches. I then followed up on everything I learned from leasing commercial real estate. I leased the entire shopping center, so it was 100% full and profitable the day it opened. Blah, 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 blah. So I went on from there, I developed more than $100 million worth of real estate, including entire subdivisions, duplexes, apartment buildings, office buildings, industrial sites, self-storages. I'm working now on a 3-tower development in Fort Lauderdale that has an ultimate price value of about $100 million. So I know a little bit about real estate.
I would say so, and a whole bunch of other amazing things. So come on out, folks, to Success Mastery Academy. It's May 13th, 14th, 15th, Dallas, Texas. All you have to do is go to BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com. That's the short version, BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com. You can go to our website at RealEstateGuysRadio.com, click on events. You'll learn all about the event and who else is speaking. But if there's no one else speaking, you're going to want to be there. I would not miss this event for anything. Brian, thanks for your time today. We are sure looking forward to seeing you in Dallas.
Thank you, Robert. I'm looking forward to seeing you again, too, my friend.
All right, there's Brian Tracy. Hey, more when we come back. You're tuned to the Real Estate Guys radio program. I'm your host, Robert Helms.
Need help with your real estate investment portfolio? Check out the resources page at realestateguysradio.com.
The personal development event of the year is right around the corner. If you want to achieve powerful results in 2016, then make plans to attend Success Mastery Academy with the legendary Brian Tracy, live and in person. It's 3 transformational days that will propel your business, career, and finances to the next level, surrounded by hundreds of successful investors, entrepreneurs, and achievers. This is Robert Helms, and I strongly encourage you to be part of this incredible event. I've been a student of Brian's for many years and have had the great fortune of being part of the original Success Mastery Academy 20 years ago. Now you can join me with Brian Tracy and his special guests Darren Hardy, Vic Johnson, Tom Ziegler, Ron White, and many more, May 13th through 15th in Dallas. Go to BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com or send a quick email to SMA@RealEstateGuysRadio.com for all the details. Master the proven principles of success. Go to BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com or send an email to SMA@RealEstateGuysRadio.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Join Brian Tracy and the Real Estate Guys for Success Mastery Academy.
Hi, this is Patrick from Paradigm Life. I've recently written an ebook called The Perpetual Wealth Strategy. The ebook discusses one of the best investments, real estate, combined with a financial vehicle used by the wealthy, many U.S. presidents, famous actors, athletes, and even Houdini himself. You can download the ebook for free in the resources section on the Real Estate Guys Radio homepage. Don't wait. Go download it now.
Hey, this is Phil Collin from Def Leppard and Delta Deep. You're listening to the Real Estate Guys.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Guys radio program. Thanks for listening to the show. No matter how you do that, we appreciate it. Tell a friend about the Real Estate Guys. And here we are, one of my goals checked off the list. Finally, after all these years, Brian Tracy on the Real Estate Guys radio program. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, Brian is definitely legendary in the area of professional development. You know, I remember being very early in my career and I discovered Tom Hopkins and then I discovered Jim Rohn and I started looking around for different types of people. And one of the things that I really always appreciated about Brian was his devotion to practical, tactical training. It wasn't just philosophy, it wasn't just mindset, but he really did drill down into very specific skills and techniques. And one of the things that he brought up early in the interview, Robert, that I think was spectacular was the importance of continuous learning. One of his favorite sayings, he said, if you'll devote an hour a day in your area of expertise to studying, to reading in the area of your expertise, that in 10 years you'll become a nationally known expert. And, you and I have both experienced that. I started out on this journey of getting into real estate and finance and strategy and all of the different things that I do, and especially the economics. And then, here we are, get down the road, and there's people that listen to us in those areas all over the world now, and it's just amazing. But it could be anybody, and that was something that came directly from Brian Tracy speaking into my life, the importance of being a continuous learner.
It's so true. I've often said that Brian is one of the most meat per minute guys. There's not a lot of fluff. It's tons of content. And having attended this Success Mastery Academy more than any other living human, I mean, Kyle Wilson was at everyone. I was at everyone. Even more than that, I think going through and sitting and listening, Kyle a lot of times running around as the promoter of the event, off worrying about every possible thing, lunch and breaks and all that stuff. Meanwhile, Paul and I were recording these events, sitting there, listening, and time after time, 5 or 6 different cities. And it was extraordinary to hear it. And at whatever, whatever ears you have on right now, whatever's happening in your life, you kind of apply to it. Now, all these years listening to the recording again and again and again, it's fabulous stuff. If you ever come to our Creating Your Future event, a lot of that has been researched out of Brian Tracy's Success Mastery Academy. And super excited that he and Kyle have decided to do this again, this 3-day event. So if there's any way you can get to a Success Mastery Academy, you're going to want to do that. Brian talked about his favorite word, clarity. And I think that speaks to what we've talked about today, too, that you've got to be clear. You can't be somewhat interested in some sort of real estate, maybe. You've got to get really clear and really quickly.
You do. The more clear you are, the more defined you are in terms of what you need to do. I say all the time, when you have clarity of vision, strategy and tactics become evident. And probably somewhere in my subconscious mind, that's a Brian Tracy pearl of wisdom that bubbled up. And I kind of put my own words on it, but I'm huge on that. You can't hit a target you can't see. Just imagine driving down the road and trying to get someplace quickly. And if it's foggy, or if it's dark and your headlights aren't on, you know that you just can't go as quickly and be as decisive as you want to be when you're not clear. The flip side is when you are clear, then when an unexpected incident occurs, you meet somebody or there's an opportunity thrown your way, you know quickly whether it fits or whether it doesn't fit. And that's really important too, because, the shiny penny syndrome is always something we always have to worry about, because as optimists, as entrepreneurs, as opportunity seekers, we see things all the time. We're like, oh, I'm going to go do that. Oh, I'm going to go do that. And you diffuse your energy in such a way that you don't accomplish anything because you're chasing too many rabbits, if you will. So clarity helps you know what to put in and what to take out. And the time you spend getting clear really makes a difference in your effectiveness.
Well, it does. And, when people start out, they aren't necessarily that crystal clear. They get turned on by something. They read a book. They read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They somehow thought, well, I can have more and I can be more and I can do more. And that's a great start. And then pretty soon you get that syndrome you talked about where there's just so much opportunity. It's like I could do 1,000 things. What do I do? That's where it takes that reflection and where you really have to step back and say, what is it that really resonates with me? Who am I? What unique skills and resources and relationships do I have? How can I best craft a strategy for my fill in the blank, let's say real estate investing, that makes the most sense for me, that makes it congruent with who you are? Because that's a big part of it, is you got to, as we say, get in touch with your inner investor.
Yeah, I think that's huge. He talked about personal assessment, talked about your value proposition. I think that's really important too. When you think about going out in the world and you know what you want from the world, you know what you want the world to give you, you know what you want to take from the world, but the world won't give it to you. You have to bring value to the world. I'm a big believer in that. And this concept of understanding what your value proposition is valuable so that you understand how to position yourself, because you're bargaining with the value you bring to the marketplace. This is what I'm worth. This is how I can contribute. And then in exchange, you want to get something out of it. And, that's how you can't negotiate a win-win if you don't have anything to bring to the party. The other person has to get something out of it too. So I love that concept that he teaches, understanding your value proposition.
Now let's talk about the live event, right? You and I are obviously going to be at this thing. We know tons of folks from our world that are coming to it, but this isn't some big commercial to come to some event. We got plenty of events. Go to our website and check out all the things we're doing. This is really kind of a historic thing that, after all these years getting back together for Success Mastery Academy. But frankly, it's not about the content. I mean, I'm guessing the workbook hasn't changed a whole lot in 20 years. For me, it's much more around the people who are in the room.
Yeah, Brian talks all the time about the power of the right associations. You know, in the syndication seminar, we talk about the quickest way to build your brand is to get known by notable people and to be associated with notable people. Well, the best way to do that is to go to where those people are. Think about the type of person that's attracted to an event like this, that's going to invest time and money to go to an event like this. The odds of you running into somebody who is the right person, the odds of you running into somebody who has some expertise or some knowledge or some connection or something of interest where you could work out some exchange of value where it would be worthwhile for you to know that person's not going to come over to your house and knock on your door, probably, while you're sitting there listening to a CD or listening to a podcast or reading a book. I mean, all those things are important, but you have to go to where the people are. And the other thing is this concept we talk about all the time, a total immersion. A lot of times I know when I'm listening to podcasts, I'm multitasking. When I'm reading a book, I read a few pages and then I take a break. I get up, there's things going around, my phone rings, got to check my email. You know, but when you're at a live event and you sit in the seat for 2-3 hours at a time between breaks and you're studying and you're listening and you're really focused, there's a level of intensity and absorption that you get that you just don't get without being in the room. So I'm a huge fan of live events. I don't care what goes on in technology. I'll always be a guy that goes to live events.
Absolutely. Plus, you emerge as a different person. You are not the same because of the thoughts that are put in your mind and the action steps you decide to take, the goals that you write while you're there, the people you meet, the business cards you gather. And it's not that you come to the event looking to do business necessarily, but it's the ideas, getting around people that are achievement oriented. It's good stuff. So anyway, you can find out all about the event by going to BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com, and you'll see all the speakers that are going to be there. It's not just 2 days with Brian. It's really 3 days because there's lots of great folks speaking, lots of interesting ideas, and it's going to be extraordinary. As soon as you've registered for the event, you want to send us an email to sma@realestateguysradio.com. And if you send that email, you'll also see how to access the event. But once you do that, let us know because we've got a reception that we're doing for Real Estate Guys listeners. And it's going to be a great chance for just us to all kind of get together and socialize a little bit and have some fun during the 3 days of this event. So make sure you do that.
It's going to be great. Can't wait to see you there.
Well, big thanks to Brian Tracy for taking time out of his insanely busy schedule. Be sure to join Brian and the Real Estate Guys at Success Mastery Academy. Go to BrianTracyRealEstateGuys.com to get your tickets and learn more. Hey, coming up, it's another episode of Ask the Guys. Your questions to the Real Estate Guys and our answers. If you've got a real estate question, send it to us by going to the website at realestateguysradio.com and clicking Ask the Guys. We can't promise to answer every question, but we're going to answer a bunch of them in a future episode of the Real Estate Guys. Until then, go out and make some equity happen.
This episode of the Real Estate Guys radio show is brought to you by Paradigm Life. Powerful cash management strategies using life insurance. Learn more at beyourbank.com. Mid-South Home Buyers. Low-cost, turnkey cash flow properties in Memphis, Tennessee. Corporate Direct. Asset protection strategies for real estate investors from attorney and rich dad advisor Garrett Sutton. Find these and other great companies under the Resources tab at realestateguysradio.com. To learn how you can expose your product or service to the Real Estate Guys audience, call 888-489-7723 extension 4. That's 888-489-7723 extension 4. Or use the feedback page at realestateguysradio.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week right here on the Real Estate Guys Radio Show.